Hello friends, I am Ajay Bhandari from India. The only thing worrying Trump administration is in case Iran's supersonic missiles manages to destroy any of its two aircraft carriers, the Republicans would lose the midterm election scheduled during November this year. Not only this, the US would lose the tag of unchallenged military superpower in the unipolar world. On the other hand, attacking Iran would divert public attention away from US Supreme Court's ruling on declaring Trump's trade tariffs as illegal and provide some relief to the US administration. Trump is in a dilemma of either going for diplomacy or pursue an all-out war. The US-Iran talks in Geneva, Switzerland were not conclusive, with Israel insisting to add curbs on Iranian missiles in addition to dismantling its nuclear program. The US president has the authority to order attack against a country without seeking congressional approval first, although the Constitution reserves to Congress the right to declare war. The Justice Department, under both Democratic as well as Republican administration, has justified this by asserting that the president has constitutional authority to independently initiate the use of force when doing so would serve important national interests, and the anticipated nature and scope of the operation does not rise to the level of a war. When President Donald Trump announced that USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier has been deployed in the Middle East, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps (IRGC) issued a press release stating that they will sink USS Abraham Lincoln. Was it just a rhetoric, an empty threat, or does Iran have the real capability of drowning the aircraft carrier? Let's try to understand. In 2023, Iran operationally launched hypersonic ballistic missile Fateh-1. As per Iran's statement, this missile system competes with Israel's Arrow and United States THAAD and Patriot missiles. On the one hand, it can fly at a speed of 13 to 15 Mach, that is 5 times above the speed of sound. And on the other hand, it can be maneuvered in the terminal stage and can evade modern precision-guided missile systems. It has a range of 1400 kilometers. It can travel in both the spheres of atmosphere, both within and outside, and therefore it is very difficult to intercept. Let's analyze minutely as to what are the capabilities of USS Abraham Lincoln, what are its strengths, what are its defensive mechanisms, and what is its role. Friends, USS Abraham Lincoln is a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier whose name is kept in the memory of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of United States of America. It was commissioned in 1989 and is world's one of the most powerful warship. Since it is nuclear powered, it can operate for 20 to 25 years without refueling. Its operating range actually depends upon its food storage capacity. It can carry 60 to 75 aircrafts on board, in which main are F-18 Super Hornet fighter jets, E-2 Hawk radar aircraft, and MM-60 Seahawk helicopters. It works like a floating airbase, and 5,500 persons are always available on board to operate it and to operate the weapon system. Main role of USS Abraham Lincoln is to project American power anywhere in the world, conduct air strikes, carry out surveillance, maintain control over seas and oceans, support US allies and friendly countries in times of crisis, act like a deterrence to the enemy, and provide humanitarian aid during man-made or natural disasters. Till now, its area of influence has been Pacific Ocean, South China Sea, Indian Ocean, Persian Gulf, that is the Middle East. The importance of this aircraft carrier also gets enhanced because it can dominate airspace in the complete region, can strike targets many hundred kilometers inland, can give a strong political or military signal, can be used to frighten any country. US Navy has total 11 aircraft carrier warships, and all these warships are nuclear powered, and each one of them carries 60 to 70 aircrafts. They all lead a carrier strike group or fleet, which includes destroyers, cruisers, and submarines. US Navy always keeps 2 to 3 aircraft carriers deployed in the sea. The holding of aircraft carriers by the countries is as follows: USA 11, China 3, India 2, UK 2, Russia 1, and France 1. There are multiple overlapping defense layers to safeguard an aircraft carrier, which can detect a threat accurately from several hundred kilometers. I will now explain to you the security umbrella from outer ring towards the ship. First layer, it is the strategic long-range layer, which is active from around 1000 kilometers. The activity of enemy is transmitted to the warships through satellites, through long-range radars, and submarines which operate at quite a distance. Land-based aircraft and friendly countries also keep transmitting information on enemy movements. Second security layer is the air and sea control layer, which covers 500 to 800 kilometer area. The defense to this layer is provided by warship aircrafts, who are known as combat air patrols, SCAP. In case of USS Abraham Lincoln, F-18 and F-35 keep surveillance 24/7. Besides these, aerial electronic warfare aircraft like E-2 Hawk also keep sending the information. Third security layer is the escort warship layer. In this layer, the enemy missiles, aircraft, and ships who have intruded 50 to 300 kilometers inside are shot down. For this task, surface-to-air missiles like SM-6 missile, cruise missile, and SM-3 ballistic missiles are used. Destroyers, cruisers, and anti-submarine helicopters are also used. Fourth security layer is medium-range ship defense, which covers a range from 10 kilometers to 50 kilometers. This layer is provided firepower by ESSM missile. Radar and decoy jamming are also used. Sonar is used against submarines. Fifth security layer is close-in point defense layer, which is 5 km to 0 km up to the ship, and is the last defensive layer for survival, in which CIWS phalanx radar guided Gatling gun ram missiles are used. Warship armor is kept very heavy, and its structure is compartmentalized so that damage to one end does not affect the other end or the middle portion. One aircraft carrier warship never moves or operates alone. It is always part of a strike group and is defended by fighter jets, missiles, warships, electronics, and guns in layers, right from space to a point-blank range. Let's return to our topic of Iran's capability to sink USS Abraham Lincoln or USS Gerald R. Ford. For example, what happens if Iran is able to saturate the defense system of an USS aircraft carrier, its electronics, its radars, by launching simultaneous attack with 500 or more drones? In a strike group, there are generally 3 destroyers, and one destroyer has 60 to 70 missiles. And even if all these missiles are fired, still 290 drones will be able to penetrate the defensive umbrella and move towards aircraft carrier. Now, destroyer will engage targets through its 5-inch gun. These are automatic proximity fuse projectiles, which make a defensive umbrella of shrapnels in the space all around the warship, in which drones get trapped and are destroyed. Assume that 190 drones are downed by the fire of 5-inch gun. Still, 100 drones will penetrate the defense layer and move ahead. In this condition, the aircraft carrier will fire RAM and ESSM missiles, and these will get logged onto drones' IR signatures. Even if 50 more drones are down, but still remaining 50 drones will move towards the warship. Aircraft carrier will now fire the ultimate and the last weapon on board, the Phalanx CIWS radar-guided 20 Gatling gun system. Save a soul weapon which fires 4,500 rounds per minute rapid fire. Its traces are seen as laser beams in the sky. Drones burst on being touched by these bullets, and assume that 25 more drones get destroyed, and now the ammunition of Phalanx CIWS system has also finished. Now those balanced 25 drones would collide with fully loaded aircrafts parked on the aircraft carrier, resulting in a big blast. The fuel tank of ship will catch fire. Onboard ammunition will start exploding. Though the aircraft carrier may not sink, but the onboard aircraft ammunition and fuel will turn it into a ball of fire. All the radars will get destroyed. In this destruction, the loss to Iran on account of drones will be only $3 million, whereas loss on account of aircraft carrier to USA will be $13 billion. Now the moot question is whether the aircraft carriers can be sunk. Submarines are the biggest enemies of aircraft carriers. In the Second World War, submarines had sunk 11 aircraft carriers. Air Group had destroyed 16 aircraft carriers. The heaviest aircraft carrier of Japan, Shinano, was destroyed by USS Archerfish by firing 4 torpedoes. USS Bismarck Sea was the last aircraft carrier which was destroyed in World War II. At the end, I will say that though it is very difficult for Iran to sink USS aircraft carriers, but it is not an impossible task. With its supersonic Fateh 1 and Fateh 2 missiles, and by firing a swarm of drones simultaneously, it retains the capability of achieving its objective. Iran does have the first strike capability, but its second strike capability is doubtful. The second problem of Iran is to lock on to the moving target for engagement with missiles. USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier is named after the 38th President of the United States of America. It was commissioned by President Donald Trump in July 2017. It was a replacement for USS Enterprise, which was decommissioned in December 2012 after 51 years of active service. Gerald R. Ford is the world's largest aircraft carrier and the largest warship ever constructed at a cost of about $13 billion. USS Gerald R. Ford and its carrier strike group have left the Caribbean Sea and are sailing across the Atlantic towards the Middle East. The carrier transited the Strait of Gibraltar into the Mediterranean Sea on 20th February this year. US has directed USS Gerald Ford to join USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group, which is already part of US naval forces in the region supporting operations near Iran. From its current position in the Mediterranean, the carrier could need several more days to reach the Gulf region depending upon speed, routing and operational pauses. With a speed of 30 knots, that is around 55 kilometers per hour, it can traverse a distance of approximately 1,300 kilometers in 24 hours. The US sometimes keeps carriers in the eastern Mediterranean instead of sending them into the Persian Gulf. Entering the Gulf means passing through the Strait of Hormuz, which is narrow and within range of Iranian missiles. Sometimes operating from the Arabian Sea or Mediterranean provides strategic flexibility and lower risk. The 12-day war between Israel and Iran during June 2025 began when Israel bombed military and nuclear facilities in Iran, assassinating prominent military leaders and nuclear scientists and damaging air defenses. Iran retaliated with 550 ballistic missiles and over 1,000 suicide drones hitting civilian population centers and military sites 1,500 kilometers deep in Israel. The US bombed 3 Iranian nuclear sites with its B-2 bombers. Iran retaliated by firing missiles at a US base in Qatar. In the latest development, US has vacated its military bases in Qatar and Bahrain, which were within a range of Iranian missiles. One has to now see how Russia, China, and especially the Muslim world comes forward in support of Iran. After operation in Gaza, Lebanon, and Venezuela, except for lip service, it is unlikely that any country will physically come forward to help Iran in terms of troops and military equipment. Although Turkey speaks a lot about Islamic world unity, but it is a member of NATO and cannot afford to antagonize America. Pakistan is already sold. Field Marshal Asim Munir has already have had lunches, dinners thrice in the White House. Sunni Saudi Arabia does not have much love lost for Shia Iran. It wants stability for its kingdom more than anything else and cannot afford to buy hostility with Israel or America. Hezbollah's back has already been broken, and as far as Houthis are concerned, they had been firing rockets at hostile merchant vessels and will continue to do so sporadically. United Nations has become defunct and nobody listens to it anymore. One thing is guaranteed: in case US and Israel launch a preemptive strike using naval firepower, aircrafts, cruise missiles and electromagnetic spectrum in a coordinated manner simultaneously, the outcome would be so intense that the whole command and control system of Iran will collapse and it may not even get an opportunity to retaliate. The war clouds are already hovering over fields of Iran. Death is knocking on the door. Only thing to be witnessed now is whether the Iranian regime will be able to inflict some damage on US and Israeli assets before going down.